And see, that's exactly what I thought when this female rival told me that I was less than a woman because I had one leg. You see, she thought because my one leg, because I had one leg, that was going to define who I was. But naturally, we know the story, right? And so the next incident, I had to ask the same question to this young student. I said, what's the leg got to do with it? When he stepped to my desk one day and he said to me, Miss Walton, no man will ever marry you. And of course I say, why not? And he says, because you have one leg. What man would want to ever marry you with one leg? Well, little did he know I'm not married, but I would hate to say that it's because of his prognostication, right? No, we won't say that. And then the third event that sort of changed my life or defined my life and let me know what this walk would be like with disability was when I went for a job and the interviewer clearly asked me, how would I get a story? I was applying for a position as a reporter. And he asked, how would you get the story? And of course, I was stunned and paralyzed by this. And of course, he was implying the fact that because I walk with a cane and a limp, there was no way that I was going to be hired for that job. So the message came to me very early, or these three experiences came to me very early that my disability was going to be an issue. So I share these experiences with you because these experiences played an integral role in shaping my understanding of my disability. And it relates to how I perceive my disability and how my disability is perceived by others. So let me explain a little further. You see, the female rival told me that I was less than a woman. And she was actually telling me that the value of a woman was attached to how I looked, right? Or how we look. And that women have been socialized to believe that our legs, our hips, our thighs are deemed prime assets by some of the opposite sex, and thus characterizing women with disabilities as unfeminine and undesirable. And likewise, my second grade student supported my theory because he too was being reared in a family that was teaching him the same values about women who may have one leg, one arm, or perhaps even used a wheelchair. That's because disability was not seen as a standard of beauty in households. When he watched TV movies, read books and magazines. It's unlikely he witnessed his father admiring a woman who was an amputee, being admired by another man because she donned a sexy bathing suit. So that I was destined, I guess, to be desired, that women were destined to be desired by a man and remain unmarried, made sense to him. I mean, why would ever, for God's sake, why would some man want to marry a woman with one leg? That's not something that the family, he seems sexy, didn't really value women in that way. And so I find my example related to the employer, because he immediately defined my disability as a deficit. When I walked into his office, walking with my cane and an obvious limp, in spite of my qualifications, he was not focused on what I was able to do. He was only focused on what he saw, and that signaled to him what I could not do. And that, of course, disqualified me.